not only having rights, you're also having duties. You have to do, I suppose, some payroll, accounting, maybe balance sheet, tax statement.
In Bulgaria, it's called EOOD.
What about the process? I mean, let's assume clients wants to form a company.
Basically, we do 90% of the process remotely. At the end of the day, one of the most important things, if not the most important thing is
Would you like to legally pay only 10% of personal or corporate income tax? Then stay tuned. My name is Guido Moller. I'm a licensed corporate service provider and I advise my clients from all around the world on taxation, relocation, and international company formation. Today I'm sitting here in Sofia, Bulgaria with my colleague Radoslav. Radoslav, welcome.
hello, Guido. Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me again.
In this episode, we would like to give the audience insights about company formation in Bulgaria. We discussed already in a different video the differences between the freelancer, the self-employed person, but in this video, we want to really focus on the limited liability company. I think you actually call it OOD or EOOD. Can you give us a quick overview about that whole topic? I mean, what's necessary in order to achieve these 10% of corporate income tax? The company formation being one of these things, but what documents you need? What's the process? And please guide us through it.
We've been doing this for more than 10 years now, so we've created quite a smooth and quick process for our clients. Not only Bulgarian clients, obviously, but foreigners, especially. So yeah, the most common, the most popular form of doing business in Bulgaria, not only in Bulgaria actually, but I would say all over the world, is the limited company, the limited liability company, and as you said, in Bulgaria it's called EOOD or just OOD, and most of the people ask me the question, what is actually the difference between the two? And the reality is there is no difference. It's the same form. It's still a limited liability company. The only difference actually is that the EOOD can be formed by only one person, and the OOD is for two or more partners in the same company. The form is still limited liability company, and this is the only difference between the two.
So the additional letter E actually only indicates that it's a single shareholder versus multiple shareholders.
Exactly. The letter E stands for jednolično, which basically means single limited company.
Okay, makes perfect sense. And what about the process? I mean, let's assume clients wants to form a company. What does he or she have to do? Which documents they have to bring to the table?
Normally, the only document that we actually require from the clients is their passport or national ID, international passport as well. This is actually the only document that we require. Of course, obviously, we need information like name of the company, scope of activity, obviously. I mean, what exactly the company will be doing, more stuff, of course.
Who's the shareholder, the director?
Obviously, yeah, sure. Capital, how much the capital of the company will be. So based on all this information that we get from the client, we prepare all the needed documents and give it to the client for signing, and of course a few more things that clients need to do with the papers.
So you mentioned that they would have to do some other things with these documents. What exactly are you referring to?
There are actually two key factors in the process. One is opening the so-called cumulative bank account for the initial capital of the company. You have to open a bank account before the registration with the documents that we send to the client. That's the so-called cumulative bank account. in which you have to deposit the initial capital of the company. It's mandatory, so that's one of the key things. Uh, the second thing that the client has to do with the papers is notarize one of the documents, the so-called specimen signature, and we have different options here for this. Uh, if the client doesn't want to come to Bulgaria for the process at all, they can easily go to the nearest Bulgarian embassy or even do it before a local notary. Of course, this will complicate a little bit the process as we are going to have to make some translations additionally and stuff like that, but not a problem. The capital bank account, it can also be opened remotely actually, and this is what we advise our clients. Basically, we do 90% of the process remotely.
Well, that sounds very convenient for the client, but wouldn't it also make sense for the client to come to Sofia, to Bulgaria, visit you, meet like this? They have, a face to the voice on the phone, and also in order to do the formalities about the bank account and combine that with, let's say, the residence. I mean, that might be the best fit, right?
Yes, basically that's the best thing to do, and we always advise the clients to actually visit us so we can meet him in person. And honestly, most of them, if not all of them, they want to come to Sofia, meet us, and speak in person about details and stuff. It's completely different experience when you meet someone in person, and just working uh, by email, not very convenient for everybody, honestly. So most of the clients, if not all of them again, they prefer to come to Sofia for just 1 or 2 days. Some of them want to stay even more, but basically we need no more than 2 days in order to finish the whole procedure. And of course, because you mentioned the residentship as well, uh, because not all of the clients actually go with this option. Some of the clients just want to open their company here without being Bulgarian residents. If you don't want that, you just stay for 2 days, you go home. Obviously, if you go for the residentship as well, you have to stay a few more days. So we have enough time to finish the procedure with the resident permit as well.
Which shouldn't be an issue if you intend to live here permanently anyway, right? I mean, that goes without saying. Okay, makes perfect sense to me. And also, I mean, meeting you also means meeting you in person, being able to ask questions, to get answers, and yeah, to get familiar also with the things to do after the company is formed. Because once a company is formed, you're not only having rights, you're also having duties. You have to do, I suppose, some payroll, accounting, maybe balance sheet, tax statement. Can you elaborate a little bit?
Of course. Actually, opening the company is just the first step of establishing a business. You know perfectly, once the company is registered, the hard part actually comes tax, accounting, payroll if you have employees and stuff like that. So, this all is something that we have to arrange together with the client, and that it's always good if we have the client here in person, always better for sure. So once we have the company registered, obviously we have to sign some papers for the future accounting services that we normally provide to our clients, because a real normal business cannot exist without accounting. And in Bulgaria, especially the VAT registered companies, they are obligated to every month file VAT reports to the tax authorities. And that's something that we do for the clients. It's part of the accounting services, it's part of the process, it's absolutely mandatory.
So we offer them a full service package, hands free, hassle free, and they can focus in the end on their business.
Totally, yes, that's correct. We help them open the company. We help them throughout every step of the process. Then when they have the company, we give them the best advices possible on how to structure their businesses and in terms of tax, accounting, stuff like that. And yeah, so that being said, we basically provide the whole circle of services needed to a business to exist legally.
Makes perfect sense to me. And the idea of doing that all on your own doesn't in the end, because it starts with simple things like a language barrier, or most people are not familiar with, let's say, accounting principles. So, from different angles, it makes total sense to hire a professional service provider assisting with all these bureaucratic things.
That's absolutely for sure. Even even without the language barrier and even without having in mind that you are in a foreign country and everything, I really don't think just a normal person who is not into this kind of business could do it easily by themselves. It's not something that you just go and do yourself. You indeed need experts to do that for you.
It's much more advisable to focus on your business, making money, and paying the service providers that you need in order to achieve your goals and to comply with the Bulgarian laws.
Exactly. At the end of the day, one of the most important things, if not the most important thing, is be fully compliant with all the laws and legal requirements. Otherwise, you just could get into trouble with the authorities, and nobody wants that.
Yeah. As you remember, we recently had a conversation about the latest developments. That's a little bit off topic, but still interesting for our audience when it's about a new, not even proposed yet, but still discussed tax change legislation, right? So there is some chit chat, some rumors about raising the taxes. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, please?
Of course. It's basically only about one tax in particular, not all taxes for sure. For sure, the corporate tax stays 10%. And this tax is actually the dividend tax.
Hmm.
It's 5% at the moment, and the government has an idea of raising it to 10, which is basically 100% of increase, which sounds like a lot, but at the end of the day, even if it becomes 10%, it's still going to be one of the lowest in EU indeed. But this is still into consideration by the parliament. So we'll know for sure in the next few weeks, maybe. The business is strongly against that change. So there are some protests here and there. And I think at the end of the day, there is some really good chance that it stays the same. But again, even if it goes 10%, it's not going to be something crazy, you know.
I understand. And I guess it's the same thing as everywhere. There are more and more challenges, tasks that the government has to somehow solve, and that requires money. So the overall direction for the taxes is only one, it's going up. On the other hand, although, as you said, it's 100% increase, it always depends on the base. And in that case, I think it's still a very, very favorable, very attractive deal for entrepreneurs from all around the world. And Bulgaria is and most likely will stay a tax haven within the European Union. Radoslav, I have another question for you. For whom actually is Bulgaria the right place? I mean, what kind of businesses does Bulgaria attract?
Well, we have the same tax applied to every business. So I wouldn't say there is a type of business that is not welcome here or something like that. So uh, literally any kind of business can be easily done here. Considering that, again, we have exactly the same tax rate for any kind of activity, I don't see why any business couldn't be successful here.
So you say, for example, e-commerce, consultants, software as a service,
Oh
doesn't
yes,
matter.
oh yes. We have all kind of e-commerce businesses, services, products. Literally everything we have.
And is there one thing that stands out? Like, is there a cluster, one thing that is super popular?
Remote services, I would say.
Hmm?
That's the main type of clients that maybe we have at the moment.
Like a programmer, for example, business consultants.
Exactly.
Hmm?
Any kind of service that can actually be provided remotely, uh, that's the easiest thing to do from Bulgaria.
I see. And what, in your opinion, are the most commonly made mistakes for people who form a company in Bulgaria?
Okay, that's going to be a tough one, as we've been doing this for the last 10 years. As I said before, we normally guide the clients throughout the whole process, and we don't actually leave room for mistakes, so to speak. So I don't know what kind of mistakes exactly one uh, would do if they want to do it by themselves. But what I can say for sure is we do not make room for mistakes when we do the job for our clients.
All right. So one mistake, that's what I read between the lines, would be do it on your own, because then you might struggle with the timeline or with some language barriers or other bureaucratic hurdles, but not with us, right?
Indeed, 100%. I would say try to do it on your own just to see you're not going to do it, unfortunately.
And if you would also like to skip all the obstacles that can be in your way when it's about forming a company in Bulgaria, then book a free initial consultation with us. The link to our calendar you will find below this video.